You're watching KSWO TV, your 7 News station in Lawton and Wichita Falls.
A car plunges 80 feet into an icy river, killing at least 3 people. We'll tell you how authorities say the accident happened. The winter storm pounding the nation is not just causing problems for drivers. Homes and businesses are collapsing. A Jackson County man was plowing when he noticed someone needing help.
I knew he didn't have no business walking, so I went after him and got him in the pickup.
Today, he's being hailed a hero.
This is 7 News. You can count on us.
At least 3 people are dead after this pickup truck ran off a snow-covered highway bridge into an icy river. It happened around 6:30 this morning in Miami, which is in northeastern Oklahoma. Authorities in Ottawa County say the truck carrying 8 people apparently jumped a guardrail on I-44 near the Missouri border and plunged 80 feet or more into the Spring River. 6 people were rescued from on top of the vehicle. 2 remain trapped inside. Dive teams and 4 helicopters were used to get them out. The surviving victims were taken to nearby hospitals. No word on their conditions. Several divers also had to be treated for hypothermia and exposure. Good evening, I'm Garrett Cryer. While Tuesday's winter storm is well off the eastern seaboard tonight, its crippling effects are still being felt across Texoma. Icy roads and bitterly cold wind chills forced many local school districts to cancel classes today. Several more are already planning to close again for Friday. Let's turn it over now to Skywarn 7 meteorologist Austin Bowling with a look at what we can expect to thaw out. Austin.
Thanks, Garrett. Garrett.
Thanks, Austin. Firefighters responded to this scene at Elgin's new high school after an alarm went off this afternoon. The school superintendent, Tom Crimmins, says the cold weather caused some freezing in the attic. The air duct broke and fell, hitting the sprinkler system. The foyer of the school was completely flooded. The ceiling tiles were damaged and have started to cave in. They're working to clean up the mess. There will be no school Friday. Well, the icy roads caused this accident on Highway 17 just west of Sterling this morning. As you can see, the green truck completely flipped over. The Oklahoma Highway Patrol says the driver was going about 50 miles per hour when he hit a patch of ice, flipped, and landed in a ditch. The driver was not hurt in the accident, but while he was walking away from the vehicle, he slipped and did hurt his ankle. OHP says drivers must be careful and adjust their speed when driving in these wintry conditions. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has announced a state of emergency in Oklahoma due to the massive winter storm that hit the state. Governor Mary Fallin asked the White House for an emergency disaster declaration for all 77 counties. A disaster declaration makes state and local governments eligible for reimbursement for expenses associated with responding to the storm. The expenses could include personnel overtime costs as well as costs associated with operating shelters and clearing snow and ice-covered roads. New developments on the story of a baby who died last month after her mother said another child hit it with a hammer. Now that woman, Ashley Wright, is charged with second-degree murder. 7 News Nightside reporter Laura DeMaria caught up with Lawton police after Wright was arraigned today. So Laura, how did police finally determine that the mother was responsible?
Well, Garrett.
Thank you, Laura. Could the deadly Fort Hood, Texas shootings have been avoided? That's what a new report suggests. The Senate report says that federal officials repeatedly ignored the warning signs leading up to the horrific shootings that left dozens hurt and 13 dead in 2009. This is 7 News archive video from that deadly day. The report also says that the government didn't have specific information on the attack, but it did have enough to show that the suspected shooter, Major Nadal Hassan, was a threat.
We have reached that conclusion because our investigation found that employees of the Department of Defense and the FBI had compelling evidence of Nidal Hassan's growing embrace of violent Islamist extremism in the years before the attack that should have caused them to discharge him from the U.S. military and make him the subject of an aggressive counterterrorism investigation.
The FBI says it is taking the report very seriously. In a statement released today, the FBI said it would review the report's findings and implement changes where necessary. A Jackson County man is being hailed a hero after an act of bravery during the ice storm. It happened Monday, 3 miles east of Elmer. Bob Tucker was plowing snowbanks for the county when he saw a man struggling to walk through the snow. Turns out the man, named Fred, drives his truck every day about a half a mile from his house to his mailbox. He got a little more than halfway from his mailbox back to his house when his truck got stuck. So he started walking, and luckily, Bob Tucker happened to see him. Today, Tucker took me out to the scene and showed me the exact spot where Fred got stuck. Tucker says he had just about finished up a long day of plowing when he spotted Fred.
And I knew he didn't have no business walking. So I went after him and got him in the pickup.
He says he knew right away something was wrong. He noticed Fred was elderly, and the trek back to his house would have been 250 more yards in freezing temperatures.
11 degrees. That's what it was in my pickup on the mirror.
And his suspicions were confirmed when Fred got in his truck.
He couldn't talk, nothing. And he finally said, when I got him warmed up, he said, you know, you saved my life.
Tucker says the next day when conditions were better, he went and pulled Fred's truck out and learned more about why Fred was in such dire shape.
He was pretty cold. And he said he'd worked around fiberglass and his lungs were bad to begin with.
And that he could have died out there if not for Tucker saving his life.
I imagine I did, because he couldn't have made it. He had 250 yards to go. No, he couldn't have made it.
But as for the part about being a hero, Tucker says not so much.
No. No, I'd do that to anybody.
As for Fred, Tucker says he went to the doctor the next day to get checked out and got a clean bill of health. The county plans on recognizing Tucker at the next commissioners meeting with a plaque. And Tucker could also be recognized statewide. County officials say they plan on nominating Tucker for a state citizenship award that is given out by the Association of County Governments once a year. They plan on submitting it, and we'll find out in May if he won.
Coming up on 7 News.
The massive winter storm is causing dangerous conditions all over the country.
It was a huge impact and a blast of debris flying and dust right in my face.
Straining under the weight of the heavy snow has caused multiple roofs to crash to the ground.
And on through Wednesday as well.
So bundle up a little bit, and then the warmth is coming, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Austin. Wednesday's massive winter storm well up to the northeast with snow, piling so much more on the snow that was already there from recent blizzards, leading to housing and building collapses. Lindsay Davis reports from Middletown, Connecticut.
You're watching 7 News. You can count on us.
Authorities in Las Vegas believe they nabbed the man behind the robbery at the Bellagio Hotel Casino. This man, Anthony Carlio, was arrested late Wednesday night. He's facing robbery, weapons, and drug charges. Police believe Carlio is the man seen here in this surveillance video running out of the casino following the December 14th heist of $1.5 million worth of chips. No other arrests have been made, but police say the investigation is ongoing. This robbery led Bellagio owner MGM Resorts International to discontinue its standard chip valued at $25,000, and they also called for all gamblers holding the chips to redeem them by April 22nd. Egypt's once peaceful and sometimes celebratory anti-government protests continue to take a violent turn today. Hundreds have been injured and at least 10 people have been killed. Take a look at this shocking video. It looks like a police vehicle striking pedestrians and then driving off without stopping. A mosque close to the square where the protests are happening has been turned into a makeshift hospital.
Hospital.
So for myself, around 3 to 5 in critical condition, which were completely unconscious.
This morning, the newly appointed prime minister apologized for attacks by Mubarak supporters. There's reports that Mubarak's son will not seek to succeed his father in elections later this year. The vice president invited outside groups, including the Muslim Brotherhood, to join in the national dialogue for change. At the National Prayer Breakfast, there was so much to reflect on and even more to be thankful for. This morning, astronaut Mark Kelly gave the keynote address and how he hopes the tragedy in Tucson gives way to healing. Diana Alviar has the story from Los Angeles. Federal law requires the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Health and Human Services to review the government's dietary guidelines for Americans every 5 years. Recently, they released their latest recommendations about how you should manage your menu. Terry Armstrong has today's MedWatch Minute.
If you see news happening, call our news hotline at 355-NEWS.
Here's what the 7 News team is working on for you tonight at 6. While everyone tried to stay warm inside, some soldiers braved the cold during the winter storm. Hear how they cope with the freezing temperatures in the field. And the weekend warmth will help to melt some of the snow on the ground. But what is more on the way? We'll have a look at your Skywarn 7-day forecast coming up on 7 News at 6. All right, Justin. I'm sorry, Austin.
All right, don't do that to me now.
One more look at the forecast.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get right to it. Here's a look at your Skyward 7-day forecast. Starting to see a few flurries going through tomorrow afternoon. Starting to warm up nicely as we go through the weekend. Starting to thaw some of that snow cover that's already on the ground for Saturday on through Sunday. Then we're tracking another system going through Sunday night on through Monday. Totals look to be less than an inch, not a big deal, and then another winter blast coming through as we go through Wednesday. And it's Thursday. It's everyone's favorite weather forecast graphic. It's your Skyward 7-day bonus forecast. Yeah, I'm going to get you back for that there. Justin Rudisell with the late chime in on the bonus forecast there. Seeing nice pleasant conditions there as well. Some upper 40s, some lower 50s, even some 60s there just after Valentine's Day. So hopefully not dealing with any more of that snow.
All right, well, thanks for joining us on 7 News at 5. Hope you join us again at 6.
World News with Diane Sawyer is next.